Next, we have a member of the Ysleta Teachers Association. As the strongest voice for Ysleta employees today, Ysleta Teachers Association will unite, organize, and empower public education advocates to shape public education in Ysleta, thus providing a quality public school for every child. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Es mi placer presentar a nuestra próxima maestra, Margarita Arriola.
Thank you very much. My name is Margarita Arriola, and I'm a teacher at Del Valle Middle School and the Ysleta Independent School District. I'm also a member of the board of YTA. I'm here today to tell you that I have the best job in the world. I chose to teach immigrants, students, because I know firsthand what they are going through because I was an immigrant too. My story is the same story as the students. I teach every single day. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you come from another country without knowing how to speak English, the journey for all of them will be the same. Look, this thing is falling apart. The isolation of not being able to understand what the people are saying can immediately segregate you and make you feel detached from everyone around you. The first day my students come into my classroom, I know exactly how they feel, because I remember the first time I sat in front of a classroom not knowing a word of English. I sat at the front of the class and smiled at my teacher. She smiled back at me, and then she started the lesson in English. And I didn't understand a single word she was saying. My first reaction was to get my things and run out of there, but my determination didn't allow me. The motivator to keep me going was my children. I knew that I needed to keep going for my children. I knew that I needed to get my education for their sake. You see, I come to this country with my husband Ernesto. I didn't speak any English and felt shy to go to places. Our children were born here in the United States, but since I didn't speak English, they didn't speak the language either. When they were old enough to go to school, I immediately enrolled them in school and I registered to get my GED. It wasn't an easy road taking care of two children and a husband, but every day I was getting my lessons done, and I could do it. I did it. I remember my very first day in class. I asked the student next to me, what was our homework? And he told me to read the first chapter of the book. I was in shock. When I got home that day, I cried for a while, and then I got to work using a dictionary. There wasn't any Google Translate at that time. So I did it myself. I looked up every word in the chapter and translated into English. From English to Spanish. And after 3 hours, I finally finished the translation of the chapter and started reading it. My children had the same problems, but the difference between them is that they learned faster and began to assimilate quickly. They were like little sponges. They soaked up the knowledge much faster than me. They didn't have to clean and cook while learning like I did. I continued to struggle, but in the end, I received my associate's degree in mass communications and a bachelor's degree in psychology. Along the way, I also earned my translator certification, simultaneous interpreter certification, and finally I went through the alternative certification program to become an English as a second language bilingual teacher. I wanted to become a teacher because I wanted to help students become successful in any field they choose. Don't judge anyone until you have walked in their shoes. As a teacher, I can relate to my students because I have walked in their shoes. I have felt the same frustration they feel. I know how difficult and traumatic it is to be in a classroom full of people and couldn't understand what they were saying. I know how hard it is to try to fit in and not be able to communicate with others. I know, sorry, how it is not to understand the cultural differences between our countries. The stress of others, not understanding that you are trying your best, but because of certain barriers, you are labeled as a troublemaker, slow, or just plain stupid. Many of these students come into my class hungry, tired, scared, and not knowing if they will be here tomorrow. Things have changed since I came to this country so many years ago. Not that many, okay? I'm not that old. I had the opportunity to become a legal citizen of the United States. My family has become hardworking citizens of these United States. My eldest son, Ernesto, graduated with a computer engineering degree and works for the city of El Paso. My youngest son, Jose Luis, gave 10 years of his life to the Air Force and now is a superintendent of a construction company in Dallas. I tell my students every day that they can become whatever they want to be, but in return, these United States must give these children the same opportunity that we had years ago. In the Serenity Prayer, it states that we must accept the things we cannot change. Of course, we have the courage to do the things we can and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm telling all of you that if you are here today, it's because you have the wisdom to know that child detention is not the way. And all of you know that we can change it. I want to thank all of you for coming out today to stand up against child detention. Let's keep fighting. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Thank you.